Chapter 7 Reincarnation. Is there life after death or life between life? It's often believed in many faiths that when someone dies with unfulfilled desires, they do get a second chance to finish their unfinished business. Whatever may be the cause, reincarnation and rebirth have been an eternal topic of much interest and debate. Because of a lack of concrete evidence, reincarnation has not been explained in the same manner by different cultures or faiths. Who am I? I am neither the mind nor the body. I am the eternal soul without birth and death on the journey to salvation. The Greek philosopher Socrates had suggested that one of the two things happen when we die. Either we lose ourselves in eternal sleep, or we move on to astral realms of existence. Plato, the most outstanding pupil of Socrates, added two more perennial elements to the discussion. First, after we die, we are judged for our deeds. And second, based on those deeds, we return to the world in a different body. In Western or Semitic religions, it is believed that each one of us had but one life, one death, and one judgment day. When we die, we are judged, Plato's first point. But after we are judged, our astral body moves directly to other realms. We may even compare our soul to our video cam that records and stores all our deeds, good or bad, likes and dislikes, and carries a list of our friends and enemies. As per Asian beliefs, and ancient Indian sages and modern Buddhist lamas preach that this reincarnation cycle's endpoint merges the individual soul with a higher entity, meaning salvation, or is reincarnated, which can be defined as our eternal soul's journey based on our past karmas' chartered spiritual map. These memories are the only things that we carry forward to the next life. Humans are possessive or over-attached to their hard-earned earthly material things and unfinished business on planet Earth. When people experience an unusual death, nature and divinity sometimes react and intervene. An individual is engrossed with strong mental attachments of love and hate with different family relations and friend and enemies. And an untimely or forced death strays the spirit to wander around in the ether world or the transit zone. The soul then tries to find answers and orient itself in the unknown territories. The afterlife will always be a subject of curiosity and fascination for humans. We all wonder what happens to us when we die. Stories of reincarnations give believers hope that their existence in the form of consciousness continues after death, even though it leaves the skeptics rolling their eyes. Some reincarnation stories, however, are not so easy to dismiss. When past life memories come with frightening precision, even the most hardened skeptics become believers. In potential true reincarnation tales, individuals can recall intricate, airy memories of their life that they have never lived. Their stories are full of details that seem to be drawn from imagination alone, defying logical explanation. People who have been reincarnated may remember information that can be verified, such as former addresses, family members' names, and fatal accidents. Such chronicles leave even the staunchest skeptics wondering, is reincarnation real? Reincarnation is the central doctrine in Buddhism and Hinduism. It is preached that by using guided meditation, we can seek the divinity inside. This spiritual study may help us understand the directions, manner, or methods this inquiry can be made. The soul, or the divine sixth element, is analyzed with the spirit of an open-minded, accept or reject attitude. The individual should not rely on emotions or superstitions, but investigate it as an objective research and focus on facts instead of past rhetorical questions. Have the humans found this knowledge to provide logical answers to the past FAQs? The more zealous the seeker's desire, the deeper or higher will he succeed in going in and acquiring transcendental knowledge. They may say with all sincerity, "Not I believe, but I know about reincarnation." This may reveal the Creator's design for humans. Every day we see ourselves going through reincarnation. You may ask how? Our soul has been getting a new body as we mature from infancy to teenage, teenage to adulthood, adulthood to middle age, and middle age to old age. Our body weight and features regularly keep on changing. As we flip our old photo albums, we have a hard time recognizing everyone there, including ourselves. The mirror also confirms the changes, and it dawns on us that our body has indeed changed and grown old and is not as strong as before. However, the ever-youthful soul keeps on flirting with young and beautiful people around them and never accepts their actual physical age. Man's divine sixth element does not perish and proves that we are much more than our physical bodies. Despite keen theological research, modern man still gropes in darkness and does not know where to seek beyond this dark tunnel of death or how to solve this complicated oriental riddle of reincarnation. Let us compare this tunnel of life between life, that is LBL, as a sort of cocoon. The soul is like a butterfly who has to remain in complete darkness until the phases of development are completed. The mysterious exits and re-entering through the ethereal ports can aptly be considered as reincarnation. These facts or fictions seem to point out a logical conclusion of life beyond death. We do carry over our karmic debts to the next birth. Generally, whenever the soul feels that our karmic job or the allotted time is finished, it usually transmigrates to a different body without its memories. Many people argue why the soul travels or enters another body without its precious memories. Wise men have answered that it is absurd that we cannot even settle our scores or differences with each other, even in the present birth. Imagine the amount of stress caused if we were to recognize our close relatives in this birth to be our bitter enemies from our past birth. Children, however, are known to keep their memories and voice them out until a young age. LGBT, a side effect of reincarnation. Reincarnation may be able to reveal a possible theory about the complexity of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender community. As a theory, the divine sixth element, or the soul, is actually genderless and has been born as males and females in many previous births and deaths. That is why, in spite of being male or female, we find it natural to admire a perfect and beautifully sculpted physical body of the same sex. These traits may have been carried over from our past birth. Hence, the same-sex mental inclination and attraction are noticed at puberty and adulthood phases as hormones change. This is seldom understood or accepted by close kin and outsiders. This can be considered the root cause of boys thinking like girls and girls dominantly feeling like boys. As puberty nears, it may lead us to males dressing and acting like females, and females dressing and acting like males. For centuries, this root cause has been responsible for many skeletons in the closet. This usually results in many family and communal feuds. God says that all genders should be treated as equal in this world. The universal, invisible soul wants to imply the equality of humans. However, discrimination against male/females or she, hims, shims, half of she and half of hims, in the LGBT community is openly seen. They are often wrongly exploited and bullied as they appear to be the physically weaker gender. Modern world should adopt a sympathetic approach to this LGBT theory from a spiritual perspective. These so-called odd traits are not hereditary or genetic, but are often carried forward from our previous physical births. The LGBT community has become very influential after many celebrities and powerful personalities of the past and present have come out in the open. This has paved the way for the LGBT to be taken seriously and not to be ridiculed openly. Thus, if we humans want to call ourselves a civilized race, this public abuse, bullying, and private exploitation should cease. A matured sense of acceptance and sane, logical understanding should prevail. Real view of reincarnation. It is common knowledge that real fiction takes birth in the womb of real facts. The real characters soon begin to have a real existence, and a fan following starts to grow for those fictional characters. A classic example of these real to real characters are superheroes and even the villains. Everyone knows for a fact that these superheroes are fictional. But as movie after movie, serial after serial is released on the big reel and the small screen, the fictional characters get huge following from the actual audience and the fan following. Real fictional characters like Tarzan, Superman, or Spider-Man, and other Super League characters, or even James Bond, has been portrayed by different actors, as sequels after sequels have been released worldwide. The considerable fan following across the globe never questions but accepts the real reincarnation from one real actor to another. Another theme that's always a big hit on the silver screen is the eternal battle between the protagonist or the hero and the antagonist or the villain. The real-life romances and drama, fantasy and adventure, mystery and horror have tremendous mental effect on the actors and audience lives. Few creative directors have tried to venture into science fiction or the Alien trilogy, that is Star Trek, Star Wars, E.T., or the extraterrestrial. Even fewer have dared to tackle the mysterious subject of reincarnation on small and big screens. Some of the Hollywood movies about reincarnations are Origins, Audrey Rose, Reincarnation of Peter Proud, and Chances Are. The audience, however, has never totally rejected, but instead believed and accepted, though with a grain of salt. On the set of a reality TV show called Past Lives, most of the participants were asked similar questions. What happens in the transition between your present and past life, or life between life, LBL? Strangely, they had similar answers that in between their two lives, they felt they were near a bright, brilliant beam of light. As long as they were near it, they felt loved, purified, and safe. After a certain time, as per their karmic ledger, their soul desired to return to the physical world to settle their unfinished business. Thus, a physical rebirth occurred after the life between life phase, followed by another womb to tomb cycle. Medium was another American supernatural TV drama series aired on NBC from 2005 to 2009 and on CBS from 2009 to 2011. Housewife Alison DuBois could see and talk with departed spirits who had unfinished business on earth. She would help them to sort out their unfinished business. Then the spirit would thank her and start walking towards a brilliant, bright beam of light. Divinity has usually been displayed as a billion bright beams of light. A Bollywood thriller made in 1980, worth mentioning, was named Curse, meaning the debt. It is about a young teenager singer who was killed in a mysterious accidental death. The case is reopened after 25 years when another young teenage singer files a criminal report introducing new evidence at the local police precinct about how he was killed in a fatal car accident plotted by his rich, murdering wife in the past life. Creative dramatizing occurs, and the police are able to solve the old case after getting a self-confession from the same rich widow admitting to the murderer, exactly as narrated by the young singer. Real views of the afterlife. Humanity has speculated for decades about the afterlife or reincarnation. Scientific studies were started regarding reincarnation by Dr. Evan Stevenson from the University of Virginia, aided by his assistant Jim B. Tucker, a child psychiatrist, MD. Certain research was done on about 3,000 children who were voicing out the details about their past lives. The professors checked every possible document the child spoke about: names, birth certificate, school record, marriage and death certificates, the actual location of the houses they mentioned, or events that could be verified. Testimonies and police record of the people who were alive were also carefully recorded and logged. They came out with a summarized result that the majority of the information was verified as facts. In 1997, based on the accumulated furnished data, only the reincarnation theory was considered to fully explain the circumstances evidence, which was confirmed by facts. The mystery of reincarnation from ancient age to modern age, though still remains a mystery. It has neither been proven 100%, nor it has been opposed in totality. Where science may depart, fertile minds and vivid imagination of our readers can take over. All of this may be confirmed by viewing episodes on reincarnation on Timeline. Death discussed. As we approach death, a point to ponder is, does karma plays any part in our birth and death? According to Hinduism, Buddhism, multiple factors including karma are indeed involved. So the answer is yes. These unifying factors, called time, is the capital of our lives, or the most precious treasure our Creator has given us as we take birth on planet Earth. As per Bhagavad Gita, the span of our life depends on the number of breaths or pranas allotted to us. Of course, this also depends on our carried forward karmic account. Hence the saying, time is money or save your breath. We have been given free will or the freedom of choice. We can either use the time to satisfy a never-ending hunger for the 5 worldly elements or senses, or we can use it to awaken God's divine spiritual 6th element. This results in a good or bad karmic record being carried forward to the next life. In the purest state of creation and destruction, the divine sixth element can only be described as a soul full of light and love. The eternal destination of this voyage of the soul is to return to the spiritual or ethereal realms back to our Supreme Creator's abode. As humans approach their physical death, a strange and airy feeling somehow enters every human's heart in their twilight years. What mistakes have I committed on earth for which I will be punished in the afterworld? Will I go to heaven or hell? However much humans have tried, they never feel that they have lived a good enough life to deserve a grade of A+, to deserve heaven in a life after life. Many blunders of the past, real or imaginary, frequently come to haunt and torment the human consciousness. So they usually seek divine intervention to secure the so-called heaven and avoid the so-called hell. Nature again seems to teach humans how to prepare for this afterlife. Nature never regrets giving everything away which it possesses and selflessly returns it to the human world. The sun and the moon do their essential and valuable daily work and slide into darkness, never trying to extend their scheduled stay even by 1 second. The trees silently prepare by shedding leaves every autumn or fall and have rebirth every spring. Our five senses also indicate their weakening as they approach old age. Humans see, hear, and even are eyewitnesses of their near and dear ones' physical death every day. They regularly attend the burials and the cremation ceremonies. They attentively listen to the solemn mass presided by the preachers. One who is born will eventually die. Death will come to each person. We have been listening to this broken record all our life. But as soon as our cell phone rings, when we are attending a funeral or something else gets our attention, all our wisdom goes out of the so-called window. My time has not yet arrived is a perfect alibi given by our inner lawyer, the consoling mind. That is why only human beings show signs of defiance. They openly display stress and regrets as they mentally struggle into their twilight years. Assuming that there is quality time available and the divine sixth element is awakened, here are a few gentle suggestions of how to handle death. We are all mortals and will eventually die one day. Make a solemn vow to plan for that unavoidable one day. Consult preachers and religious scriptures about death. Amicably settle verbal or legal feuds in black and white. Unfinished business causes a lot of suffering and excess baggage for the sixth element. So voluntarily distribute all your assets, every material thing, real estate property and tangible assets, and any symbol of power that we have acquired on this planet. Take care of your immediate and extended family, your community, your business partners, your circles of trust, especially your enemies, by ceding your legal rights. Pass on your talent or knowledge and cede your power, authority, and titles which kept us comfortable, protected, and respected on earth. Ponder about the legacy we want to leave behind. As per Buddhism and Bhagavad Gita, as you depart this planet, your last thoughts should be of the divine. It will be helpful in guiding you to the lower or higher realms in the afterlife. As you reach this stage, you may start to feel vibrations of inner peace or bliss. This will mentally prepare you for the upcoming journey to the afterworld. The realization that will start to sink is that your existence in the form of an eternal consciousness, the divine sixth element, will be carried forward. Prepare yourself for sudden departure, willingly or unwillingly. Knowingly or unknowingly act as if you are at the airport, holding a boarding pass in hand as a chance passenger. Remember and console yourself from the knowledge that when we see the sunset in the west, we know that the same time sun is rising somewhere else at the same time in another place in the east. As we grow old and weak, we should chant the Divine's name in which we believe with a smile. Do not struggle to stay as we depart from the port of physical death. Finally, we will indeed arrive at the port of physical birth in the next life, after we are judged as per our karmic ledger, good or bad. This should make the transition portion of the divine sixth element eternal journey easy, fruitful, and rewarding. The journey of the soul. The soul is attached to its physical body more than anything else in this mortal world. Death is described as a separation of the divine sixth element, that is the soul, from the physical body. For centuries, we have seen that anyone who has taken birth indeed dies. We know every day that our ancestors, parents, our near and dear ones, and people we used to admire since childhood have passed away. So what happens after we die? Does death end everything? Let us follow this fictional scenario from my real experiences to understand what emotions do the soul go through after the death of physical body. Initially, as the soul departs, the astral cord is cut between the soul and the physical body. The soul then transfers to an astral body which starts to rise upward as it has no weight. To imagine the astral body, think of a shape of a flame or a candle or a size of a thumb. That is why in most religion we light a candle or a lamp as a sign of respect while visiting our departed loved ones. As the soul rises upward from above, the soul sees his near and dear ones in mourning. Depending on how popular the soul was, people grieve. Initially, the soul first tries to assure them that he is still alive. He urges them not to mourn, as he is not in any physical pain. Wherever the soul goes, it cannot communicate with them. No one can hear or see the astral body. Souls, however, can see and even hear mortal thoughts. The right thing for the mourners is not to criticize, but to send out loving and forgiving thoughts to the departed soul. Souls can see their precious earthly assets being divided, their feuds ended, and their illusions shattered, that the world could not run without them. After the final farewell prayers, everyone leaves and moves on. The soul now understands how humans waste their limited time on earth, called life, on meaningless, worldly things and became slaves to their egos. Slaves too have a hard time accepting that the physical body to which it was attached for so long is no more. The soul then tries to visit familiar places or people who were close to them. Death usually comes naturally or unnaturally, meaning by lingering illness, by violence, or by accident. Souls may want to know as to who was responsible for their death. There is a grey area or a sort of transit zone or a dark tunnel-like passage where confused souls have to stay until they can fully come to terms with their death or life between life, that is LBL. Some of the departed souls of our ancestors may come to orient us during this LBL phase. When the soul is finally ready to accept death, then it starts to cross the dark tunnel. The soul then sees a bright light at the tunnel's end as it approaches the higher astral realms. As long as the soul is near the bright beam of light, it feels safe, loved, and purified. They understand that as per their religious beliefs, they have now to get ready for the proverbial Judgment Day. The soul is then judged according to their karmic record, where no defense can save the soul. After that, as per the theory of Socrates and Plato and the karmic theory, the same soul may either be lost in oblivion or salvation, or it takes birth again in the mortal world in an eternal reincarnation cycle. Joke time! Smart liar. A single parent had raised her 5 children to be a successful doctor, engineer, architect, businessman, and lawyer. On her deathbed, she asked each one of them to put some money in her coffin. The children mutually agreed to put 200,000 each. Lawyer asked, "How much did you put?" The doctor said, "I could afford only 150,000. The engineer said, "I manage 125,000. The architect said, "I put in 100,000. Businessman, for pandemic reason, I put 50,000. The lawyer said, "I knew that you will not keep your promise. So I took back your envelopes and put in a total of 1 million, as Mum wished." All of them were surprised. "But you are the poorest among us." Said, "That's why I issued my personal check." All of them were shocked. "But how will she get it?" Lawyer, "Well, she always believed in reincarnation."